This here is from Depth Delusion. They're trying to prove still to this very day that Johnny was not the victim. And right here, well, it seems like, let's just say, an opponent of Johnny got mixed up with another opponent of Johnny. My grandmother thinks she's marrying Johnny Depp and has put our entire family at risk. Let's see what we got here. This all started about a few months ago when my mom saw that my grandmother had taken out $3,000 out of her retirement account randomly and confronted my grandmother about it. My grandma then revealed to my mom that she had met Johnny Depp in a chat room and they were engaged to get married, but he needed her to send $3,000 to the UN so he could get out of some movie contract and come take care of her. She somehow managed to go to the bank, cash a check for $3,000, then send it via Bitcoin to this guy. What? This sounds strange already, man. So, this person's grandmother went to the bank, cashed a check for $3,000, which not many people do these days, and then sent $3,000 of Bitcoin? At that time, my mom thought my grandmother must have had some sort of underlying medical problem because she has never been like this before. She's relatively independent other than some mobility issues and is very sharp otherwise. So very sharp except for this. My grandma was sent to the hospital and admitted at the time they found nothing wrong. Gotta say, man, it seems like some 14-year-old is at it again, making this stuff up. But I must say, we're here for entertainment mostly, and this is pretty entertaining. We thought she understood after all of that she had been scammed. She said she understood anyways, and we thought that was that. My mom has a POA and informed all banking agencies, filed a police report, etc. Fast forward to today, however, and it's even worse than we thought. My grandmother was acting sketchy about some things, saying she needed to sell her house, and my mom downloaded the app and she knew my grandmother was chatting with the guy on, then used her email to get in. Come to find out, my grandma has now sent him her card information, told him her address and how much her house is worth, how much is in her account, my parents' names, numbers, addresses, and all her grandkids' names and numbers and even more. She had all that information? I mean, you could look that up, but seems like her grandma would have to go through a lot of inconvenient things to get all that. And her grandma never thought to talk to anybody about it, call her daughter, say, hey, what do you think about this? She just decides to give this Johnny Depp person all this money, all this info, but she's actually sharp otherwise? My mom has tried over and over again to convince her this is a scammer and she's putting us all at risk, but there's literally no reasoning with her. My mom was able to get her account shut down and temporarily prevent my grandmother from sending any more money out, but the guy is apparently pressuring my grandmother hard, leading her to doing all this insane stuff like giving him her family's information. To the comments about my grandma likely being lonely and that being a major factor, yes, she's likely very lonely. We do our best. My mom's tried to get her to sell her house and move in, but she doesn't want to move. All right. Then this person gives some details about how they try to keep the grandmother from not being lonely. She then says her grandmother is actually a verbally abusive alcoholic. Well, that might explain some of it. But despite that, this person says they invite her to holidays and birthdays. How nice. This person then says that they got her mom to file a police report with the local police department, and someone came and reviewed all the chat messages that my mom had evidence of on her phone. My grandma's given this person her SSN, driver's license, and more stuff we didn't originally know and only found out about after the deputy combed through the entire chat. And then the deputy and her mother had a long chat with the grandmother, and hopefully that's the end of it. Thanks again for all the advice. My cousins, uncles, parents, and I are all locking our credit and putting up fraud alerts on all of our accounts. If anything else major happens, we'll continue to update. 4,000 likes, by the way, and over 500 responses. I didn't read them all, but I'm going to guess most people were saying things like, oh my God, how could this happen? Well, I clipped out a few, but I'm gonna bet my bottom dollar no one said, I don't believe this. This looks like hogwash. So here's just a few comments. Your grandma may need to see a doctor to evaluate her mental state, especially if you've noted other indicators of mental decline. That said, otherwise, mentally healthy individuals fall for these scams too. Maybe. If you really think Johnny Depp is going to marry someone he randomly met online, I'm not sure where your head's at. Either you're mentally gone, it's not your fault, or you're just not that smart. Grandma or not, okay? My parents and in laws are probably about the same age as this person's grandma, and they would not fall for this. Not even close. Change your bank accounts and CC details in case she sent them as well. This person says the doctor sure thought something was wrong, I guess believing that the grandma went to the doctor and there was a doctor in the first place, but probably it's all imaginary. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Before I make these videos, I don't read them usually because I like to react to it. Kind of makes it a little bit better. And I thought this was, kind of a serious thing. I thought it would be more well written, but seems like I was right that this forum is mostly 14-year-olds defending Amber to this day. Anyway, if you're not subscribed here, I'm doing pop culture, entertainment, honest thoughts, whatever comes up. If you don't subscribe, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.